Hello, welcome to the show where hopes and dreams meet ends and means. I'm Tradespotting. This is SPY 408. Drawings on. As you can see, this is an important area as demarked by this orange box. This horizontal area here is 50% retracement from the high to our ultimate low. Hold that level. Hard to argue that that's not still bullish, right? It's hard to make the argument that that's not still bullish because it's also at these previous highs, having put in a higher high. So there's that. There's the 50 simple above the 200 on the 4-hour time frame, also positive. And on the daily time frame, we have the 50 simple going through the 200, Price action tested that at the time, but it's very positive orientation. Interesting when we look at it like that. Turn on the indicators. You can see the RSI still above the center line on the daily time frame. MACD not yet crossed over. So difficult to say that the momentum is against you. 4-hour time frame lower than your previous low. Price action obviously higher. RSI not so, and yet still hasn't broken through the center line. So certainly no confirmation that this is a terrible trend. In fact, there's not really any confirmation of trend. If we're looking across here, we can see we had a lower low from our previous low, and subsequently this high hasn't yet exceeded the previous high, yet we have broke through an intermittent area, which you would have looked to for this horizontal and that downward sloping diagonal. So retests of these zones, not all that scary really when you put it in context. So that's what we're thinking about on SPY. GameStop. Come in here, 15-minute time frame. As you can see, right on Tradespotting line there. Again, same situation, 50% retracement. So it's not yet broken back into what you would consider bearish territory. And looking left, this currently constitutes a higher low. You can see we're lower on the RSI, coming into those sort of zones within the bearish control zone where you could potentially anticipate a bounce. So that's the main things to look to there. FAMI still pushing to the top side on these lower time frames, turnip firms, and aiming up still for 125. Tesla holding these 200 levels, though we anticipate a retracement. It's not completely in yet. Golden pocket here wouldn't be all that surprising. Another couple of percent on Aston Martin. Interesting moves across the market, really. Some things doing better than others. What are you guys looking for? Maybe being praise of the right outcome is my animal spirit, quite possibly vis-a-vis. Nice one too. Hello, Donkey Kong. Kieran, legend, good evening, good morning. I'm about to head to bed. To work. Work? Oh my goodness, but what a ride the 16 months have been. This serves me right for reading ahead of the lines. What a ride the 16 months have been. 16 months, Kieran. Blooming heck, innit? Good luck at work, buddy. Yay, that thing worked. Holy crap, Minner donated a whopping $10. Yeah. Sweet, it worked. Woo. Sugar, I have the thing here to read what it says. Bear with me, please. Oops, that's not it. Sputter. This is it, right? Nope. Sputter. This is it? No, that one. This is it. That one. Here we are. Streamlabs in the description, please. Oh yeah, Streamlabs in the description. Pop you up, mi amigo. Cheers and thanks for what you do. Sorry for missing Tradespotting Appreciation Day yesterday. Oh my goodness, you missed yesterday. Oh my goodness, you missed Tradespotting Appreciation Day yesterday. Oh my goodness. Well, that more than makes up for it. 100%. Yes, tap you up and change that link in the description. Certainly. Thanks for that reminder. think to do that, I go back to this mister. Yes, hello, mister. And then TUP shortly after this guy. After this incredible update. Boom. I did it. I updated the link in the description, so now it works perfectly. Thank you for that reminder. And back to the church, TUP. It's not TUP. What am I like? It's TUP. Right. Oh, TUP. It definitely is TUP. Is that a bullish engulfing candle me sees on the 15-minute time frames, having got back down to Tradespotting's projected? Oh my goodness gracious moi, it is. So 15-minute time frame suggested there's a potential entry on the go there. Gone through this flash, tested a 50 simple, lower low than your previous lows, but you're bullishly divergent on that 15 minutes. 30-minute time frame, similar situation, hovering above the bearish control zone. Interesting. 1 hour time frame. Whoa. In the bearish control zone, once you pick your head out of that, look good. You've also got potential test of that 886 confirmed with the body close here, though it is only the hourly. That's interesting as we creep up across the time frames in a very stealthy, quiet way. Right, so we don't want to creep too many floorboards. 3 spot 90, the low on that 384. Nice. Look at this one, it's all failure. Well, actually, sir. 4 hour. 86. Lower low. Price is putting in lower lows on RSI. Hold top of that bearish control zone. Oh, it's a tight one, isn't it? Oh, it is. Plus, give me more perspective. Like, there's not enough data. Thank you. 4 hours good for a reason. Right, so, yes, interest in there. 200 period, 50 simple, price action, previous lows. Boom. Where's that guy's fib? Where are you at? Why come you're not on? Well, it's the low side of the range, you know. It's the low side of the range, that's for sure. This range. So that's to be said for it at the minute. Or is that against it? 50 simple below the 200. And you've returned to the bottom side of this range. So you don't want to be catching a knife, but that does look interesting. You don't have the bullish divergence on the significant time frames. And you very much be catching a knife right now below the center line here on the RSI. That's not particularly fantastic. So we do know that it's in a downtrend and it's at the lows of the range. So we would anticipate our momentum oscillators being, you know, not the prettiest picture. That doesn't look too fantastic. If I'm to turn on the drawings, see that we've got a bit of continuation divergence between these two highs and a rejection of the center line. So that's perhaps the reason it brought you back looking for support. You obviously have bullish divergence on this previous low. Failing to break up. Losing its own trend line there. It's not quite, you know, it's not completely out of the game yet. And then on these higher time frames, you're starting to see that this is clearly nowhere near as low as it was previously, even potentially giving you an inverted head and shoulders over a greater picture. You don't have that here. That breakdown, 575, still very relevant here. Body closes that whole zone. And then up to the weekly, right? So we've got our drawings back on here. Oops. 50 simple, 200 price action, exceeding previous lows, bullish divergence. Momentum isn't yet anywhere near as bad as it has been, which is both a warning sign and a potential opportunity. So, you know, we've had the price action coming back down to provide a potential opportunity. It was certainly a lot riskier that you'd see that move than should it fall from here the equivalent distance down again. So go back to the daily, turn off me draw. You're seeing success now, aren't you? Very much, oh, very, very good, mate. So, you know, on the daily time frame, still things look pretty bad. You haven't yet exceeded the previous lows. You don't have your bullish divergence. You do have continuation divergence on, what was that, 4 hour? No, where was it? Yo, you guys tell me, where was it? It's at the higher time frames as well, because that wouldn't be fantastic. Yeah, it's on the higher time frames where you're holding these previous lows, but you've got warning signs at the top. So we've not yet got the confirmation. You know, I mean, there was me on a hopeless endeavor to find it there. There would be any nature of it, but there isn't. It's still a knife that's still falling. You know, still is. Well, yeah, I've got like these interesting, you know, I'd still say this part of the trend bullishly divergent, but like it's all within the bearish part of this indicator and has been for a significant amount of time. And these previous highs putting in gain continuation divergence, looking left, you know, on the big time frames. On the smaller time frames, you see it between these peaks here. Not too fantastic, right? So, and if it doesn't find support here, you'll be looking for extensions and it coming back down to very, very low levels. You know, probably these extensions that we've got them on here. Yeah, the 1618 is at 310, then 239, and you would anticipate if it is falling below this level, any of these areas are possible, right? So it's 0, but that's why you don't try and catch knives. 15-minute time frame where you might be looking for one automification con. You've got your bullish engulfing, but that's not going to tell you very much. You've got your bullish divergence, and that's all well and good. But it's a downtrend, it's breaking its highs. You would expect there to be a little bit of that signature when it is breaking through long-term lows until such times as the trend's confirmed with lower lows and lower highs. You wouldn't necessarily see a clear picture on your momentum indicator. And then, you know, putting it into context of its greater trend, it's all still very risky. So in terms of reducing your risk, it's about waiting for price action to show you something positive. If it breaks back above $4, then you're looking at these trades 10%, 440 as it did previously. Putting that in context, you do have a bullish divergence on this side of the trend. So when the trade is active, you know, this is very speculative because we don't know if this is a low yet. As I say, catching knives, we would be able to define it as one if we didn't go any lower and returned back above 4.04, at which stage you'd say that there is significant divergence within this. And because you'd reached a macro low, you might be looking for a swing trade. And the 4 hour 200 period moving average back up at around 530. You'd be asking for a lot to go for beyond that, looking at this at the minute. Right, having already made so many assumptions, and like there's a gap back above, so I'd wait for this thing to give you more reason, closer to like, that's not enough, that candlestick. 1 hour, that's like a disaster. All of that contained within the lower half of the previous one itself, the one that took us below support. It's not much of a reaction, so nothing to get excited about, despite the fact that it has come back and it says failure, but I'm sure it said success on a different time frame. Why is it like that? Where was this? You said success somewhere. I saw you, mate. Where were you? Oh, well. So that's what I'm thinking on TUP. Thanks very much, Minner. Hope that was of some use. I mean, I'll look at it again. As it evolves, coming into what's like closed there. Gosh, but what time do you think this is? So, yeah, I mean, it's good that it's come back because we anticipated that, but I'm not sure if it's presenting a clear opportunity yet. Where was that box of information so I don't lose it in case there's another one? This one. This is it. Cheers, Minner. Paint corrector. Thank you. You're welcome. When was that? 1 day ago. 1 day ago. You're welcome. Cool. Cool. How is everybody? Are you all doing well? See you all in the chat box there. I won't shout you all out by name, but it's great to see you. Thanks very much for being here. Yo, Jackie. Thank you for being the best mentor we could ask for, from your willingness to chat and encourage people to your selflessness. For you. Thanks, Jackie. Very much. It's appreciated. That's the next message. You always send me nice messages. Thanks. Good to see you being positive. You know, a lot of people rest on their laurels. I know that you, when you are so focused on your goals and traveling forward, it's difficult to bank those good feelings for when you do well, you know, and then feel them going forward, because you're always looking for the next success and measuring your progress that way. So it's hard, you know, to appreciate all the best things about yourself, that's for sure. But we all see it all the time. Everybody's, I'm sure. There's it on the screen. That was a good shout to Effie for all the help with them alerts. They're funny. They're funny, them ones. Right, so what else? Thanks, Jackie. Appreciate. But you don't need to give me compliments like that, really. You don't need to. It's appreciated, though. Thanks. You kitty's dead at 10, 18 months. 10. Tradespot, get out of town. 18 months. Chimp. Thanks so much, kitties. Appreciate. Tradespotting, just in time, or just in time to say yeah and a rerun for me. Either way, TS very tasty dat. Well, I think that we've covered the SPY and the GameStop. That's the way that I suspect most people will be interested in hearing about directly. And then we talked about TUP, which should come back to this potential opportunity. So it's worth, I don't know if it provided much value at that point, other than the main message, like not to catch knives and not to get excited just because it's reached a potential opportunity we identified before. We always rely on confirmations. And just getting here, you know, we've only arrived at this point. Can we do Bitcoin any? We can look at Bitcoin, you betcha. Bitcoin, doodle doodle doodle. So this was an important level. Price action went through that there, and I anticipate it still being that's around 22.34. 50 simple is now at 22.5. That previous level of support could easily be resistance on this drop down. Very speculative at the minute, isn't it? We'd look at this extension. 1618. That's provided resistance at the top side so far. This isn't a very accurate way of doing things, is it? Actually, I'm not going to bother with that. This is give people bad habits. Right, so I'll start up where I should do it all properly. Weekly time frame, price action, Bitcoin on this particular exchange. 50 simple approaching the 200 period moving average, and Bitcoin came up to test it. Also came close to its previous highs in around 25.2 before the breakdown. Didn't quite make it. But then it hasn't come all that far away when you put it in the context of that move, despite this downward slope. Looking left, we can see at 22. There's a weekly time frame at 22, which means it won't finish until Sunday, right? Future is different, but so you're looking here, and that's a long time. So you're looking here, and at 22,000, that's what you're looking for the close to be in around. Whereas price action is a hop, skip, and a jump from that at the moment. So not completely crazy, nor has it exceeded these previous lows at 21.4. Low of the day 21.836 on this exchange. So that's right. It's no panic yet. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe lots of people are panicked. I suppose it depends how you set your trades up. But that on this particular situation here, there's nothing confirmed as yet. And prices having made such a strong move to the top side, it wouldn't be all that crazy to see some support being seeked, suppose at this stage. Especially when price action has tested those previous levels we talked about, or at least got close to doing so. So we'll drop down now and see where it may be. Give us more informationes. 50 simple here. I haven't gone through it at so much pace. You know, you would expect some tests somewhere. Nothing since that tiny little pullback there. So this is also not all that crazy. Today, no news. You know, daily time frame. Oh, centerline RSI. You going to go through that straight away? Well, even coming back, tiniest little bit of slowing down, even the slightest. I mean, here you went through it. Price action losing a diagonal. Important though was the horizontal at that same stage. Paused at the RSI, you know. come from below, pause, come from below, pause, come from above. Typically, you would look to this area and see momentum itself. Pause. Obviously, you went through it quite a pace here, but that after the back of a bullish divergence with 3 touches, you would anticipate touching, you know, coming back to test and find resistance. That 50 simple provided that on the daily time frame, and you didn't get anything into the bullish control zone. So, you know, going through the center line itself wasn't confirmation of a trend change. You know, so you can do it all sorts of different ways. And at this minute in time, we may be pushing our head through the center line, but to take that lesson forward, there's no confirmation of the trend change yet. And it may well be that you see, you know, the RSI itself puts in a print when the candle closes. So in advance of that, you can push much lower. RSI itself could push lower. Price action could then come back up and close higher, and you'd get, you know, the RSI itself might not provide you any evidence that it's ever been this low on the daily time frame, right? Because it doesn't draw in its past potential, and the close is what plots the next coordinates on the chart there. So, I mean, you're not asking me that, but so you're looking at the daily time frame and price action persisting with, you know, approximately much closer to its highs than it is at any of the lows, and itself at the centerline RSI. So perhaps, you know, looking between these 2 points, that would be a 50% retracement or thereabouts. Yeah, I mean, thereabouts, right? Could probably make that more accurate. I could definitely zoom in and find out where it is. 22.2. So, I mean, it's below that 50%. It's not below it on RSI, but then this is measuring it from the previous low, isn't it? And it's kind of there already. So what you'd be saying is, if it does go down further, then the RSI likely comes down and tests its previous lows, and price action in that event would likely be moving to test a previous level of support, so 21.5, and if that doesn't hold, 20.5, which is the same levels you passed on the way up. So no coincidence there. Tradespotting, not sure if you're still watching it, but next week could get spicy for MIPS. Yo, I'll have a quick look, dead money. So 50 simple through the 200. There we are on the daily time frame. That's the golden cross. You anticipate price action coming back towards these levels. That's not all that crazy. If it's going to be a positive golden cross, the best version of that artifact would be price action testing at least one of these moving averages and having a positive response subsequently. And then you'd be able to see, due to that positive golden cross and then the trend test afterwards, we could confirm the suggestion of a positive trend rather than, oh my goodness, we have a golden cross, that's amazing, get your camera out, faint, right? That not like, it's not like the golden cross itself is the star, you know. So, and this is the way that most things work in technical analysis, you know. Well, this is how you use them to your benefit. Whether they work or not, that's up to you to decide. Right, you big silly idiot. So Bitcoin, we're looking at this, and then we're going to talk about any. So the implications of this is, you know, Bitcoin miners then, like Gree and any. Baching, pulling back a little bit. Close, 0.4. Post-market, 0.380. No, not all that different in terms of like turn off the drawings. You know, there's nothing confirmed about a negative trend here. Drop down 4 hour. There's that same cross being tested here. Parabolic SCR. You've come in, put in that test of where you would anticipate, right? Because you have to test the trend, and if that isn't at a prior horizontal, 0.369, then that 200 period moving average, which we might take as a proxy for the trend, which you confirmed on number of tests as the way through to the topside. Then, you know, and the 50 simple testing it, parabolic SCR, that being derived from these previous lows, and then it uses the candlesticks as a clock to determine where its next plot will come in, and then the look back period in combination gives you an area where you might find an element of support, so, or at least a potential test of that trend. And here we have it, right? Where we see the moving averages cross. So nothing confirmed. Again, 1 hour time frame. You lose 50 simple, tested 200. 50 simple above the 200 gives you the luxury of that. It's another reason why it's positive splay there can help. 30-minute time frame. Lost the 200, but you're above your prior lows. Touching mentioned, top side of the bearish control zone, not dropping in yet. Again, you're not getting any confirmations yet. So, I mean, you're just looking at it thinking, stick to the plan. You know, like this persists above the 50 simple, above the previous highs, and the previous low was a bullishly divergent one, which held the top of the bearish control zone. So if we're using the RSI to distinguish this formation, then we can trend your friend till the end of the trend. So you stick to your plan with regards to the trade, rather than getting emotional because of whatever it might happen to be, because all things will make moves. You know, for example, we started on SPY, and we talked about this like days ago, as you know, yesterday as well. And we talked about what's going to happen tomorrow as well. So, like, it's not all that crazy. I wish YouTube sent me notifications for GME streams. Oh, I know. I scheduled it for, like, ages. And then I was thinking, jeepers creepers, why is it not coming out and whatnot? But if you get on Discord, then you get notifications, yo. Rocky was with Dad earlier, so he didn't see anything from that side of things. But that's the way you get the notifications. Join Discord, yo. Link in the description, yo. So that's that. Have I missed anything else? Anything said? Anybody said? We're going to take a quick look at maps. Here's maps. 200 period moving average, rejection, lost to 50 simple on the forward. There's the flashback down at not spot 9-1. Went through the center line at pace. Clearly you've got bullishly divergent within this trend. But has that broken? Well, I suppose you're not going to get confirmation as yet. So you have got an open, not a close below that 50 simple. Like I say, that's not support as dictated by price action. It's a moving average itself below the 200. So it's telling us what it is and nothing else. Daily time frame, that's a test of that 50 simple. Right, that's not crazy. Through the center line here in RSI, but still, it's hard to argue that that's necessarily negative. Through the 382 again, that's not wonderful. Take this guy so that's accurate, is it? I mean, you're probably right on it, and that was the golden pocket retracement at that point. I mean, let's take this from an actual high within the trend. What did you do that for? Silly Billy. Right, so at this point, you know, that's clearly not the one to look to. That's your 236. We can go with that, right? We would go with that then. And you're looking at this saying, is it an inverted head and shoulders? Well, I suppose on the daily time frame it is. You don't have what you would like to see, you know, on the RSI there. And you could easily come back and test that slightly lower on that right shoulder. And bear with me while I use this instead of that amazing line tool. Oh, get back in your... So, woo, and you test the 200 period moving average, 50% retracement, all very possible. I'd like to be holding, you know, a 50% retracement in that case from these lows. And even then, this is like still definitely very much and in every possible sense a downtrend. But you'd be looking in there at 1.12, and it probably doesn't hold that. The low from the right hand side of the shoulder at golden pocket retracement at that stage comes in at the 0.1, and then, you know, there is also an area here it's been testing in around that 0.95, with 786 then being the best value entry at this stage, and also giving you the closest area to what would be the wisest stop, you know, which is the ultimate low, because this is a downtrend that's persisted forever. And so, like, at this point, if because of the way price action is here, and if you ask me right now what I'd think to right now, if you're to look to things moving below, you do have that opportunity from here in around your 786 or your 886, right? And why not the 886? Because if you try to catch a knife, right, you might as well catch it as close as you possibly can to where you're going to get rid of the thing. Should it keep going? And then if you're waiting for an uptrend, sure, that's a completely different type of trade. So, like, that's what you'd be looking at there potentially, and then you just see, you know, it's not even inverted head and shoulders, and, like, quite frankly, that's not particularly something I'd be desperately interested in as a trade. And then you've got this here potential hold the 50 simple on the daily time frame, which you're not necessarily getting any confirmation of in this gain. Catching a knife, right? Especially if you're just doing it all on the daily, and there's that flash down at 0.92. So like that's, I mean, what am I going? I can't hardly go and argue against that, right? So, you know, and that looks like, you know, there's no what else is going on here? Oh, I. Ooh, I. Well, that turns negative and this does lose the 50 simple. It's just, that's terrible. But hi, look, as if get out of my right. Yeah. If it starts moving, you know, that might be alright. It might be alright if it starts moving. But it looks like it's going to come back, test these lows. It's in a downtrend, and, you know, the best move might have been this previous low off the back of that bullish divergence, the third touch within this trend, and then coming to test the 200 period moving average. It's hard to see a better trade than that from right here, which was 97%. So hard to beat that. And perhaps something evolves, but you'd have to wait until price action got here, I'd suggest. Yo. Cool. So, where's the box gone? Come back, box. Yes, I'm using you, box. Cool. Cool. Are you all paying attention? Is everybody paying attention? Are you all paying attention? Watches, cars, pharmaceutical, insurance, watch, car, stuff like that. So, yes. Congratulations to all my YouTube subscribers who are on YouTube Premium. My goodness, you lucky folks shoes. So, thanks very much for watching. You know, I think we covered most things people were looking for there. Hi, Tradespotting one girl Brian. I go, yeah, I'll try and ensure that it happens tomorrow, sir. I'll do my absolute best to ensure it happens tomorrow. Yeah, I'm guessing maps sells maps of some sort. It does look like that, especially when you put it in the context of the weekly time frame. Like, I see, right. In February 2021, we finally decided that was it. The end. Nobody needs no maps yet. No more. Nobody's going anywhere, in fact. So why would you need a map? To stay at home. You want to be looking at this? Somebody asked for this. Is it dead yet? Nope, still going. Still going. 114. 50 simples, like, looks like it was... That's... Right, anyway. Daily, still going. Looks like a potential, like we did talk about there. Failure swing. It needs to lose the center line on the RSI to get the confirmation there. I suspect when it does, golden bucket retracement down at 95. At which point you'll have lost to 200 and you'll probably test the prior low at 84. And then a 236 on the prior low to high. If that breaks, I'd suggest this thing's coming to a 1618, not a 0.13, because room. Yeah, so I think this potentially does roll off. If energy does, then it likely will too. Tradespotting, can we take a little look at APRN? Yeah. APRN, boom. Hold the center line a daily. Nothing bearish about that particular leg of the trend. Here, that's interesting, pushing above that prior low, closing that gap, and open interest at the same time being so negative. Whoop, that changed. Retracement holding the center line, potential confirmation then. APRN offering up an opportunity once it gets back above 1.17 test the prior high at 178 and likely go on test that 200 period moving average if, oh, jeepers creepers, there, wait, where was that actually? Look, it's at 284, so it'll see where it makes its way to. If it's this 50% retracement at 230, where you find a rocky outcrop flash, then bloomin' heck, jeepers creepers, that would be lovely jubbly. You've got bullishly divergent potential here. Open interest looks interesting from every potential way of looking at it there on these indicators, and you've got something like, heard of it, cheeseburger? The MACD, right? You know, you have heard cheeseburgers. Why not have one, buddy? You know, are you getting this? Are you getting a... Oof, eh? So, I mean, it's had a push down there. Yeah, I mean, that's not bad, is it? Hourly is... and then you've got a flash there on 232 on the hourly as well. This looks really interesting. I'd say that's probably quite a nice one to look to, because you've got 200 period moving average and prior low, and you're already bullishly divergent. So if you did fall any further, you'd be in the bearish control zone. I wouldn't argue with it after that point, and I definitely wouldn't be under previous low. Sure, it could go beyond that and you could look at it some more. But if you try to quantify this particular trade and the opportunity right in front of you right now, it's a 16-to-1 risk reward ratio on APRN with 134% target, ultimately justifying this particular trade if you do get the right entry signals, which you're not getting there. I mean, that's bearish at the minute. You know, you need to get some sort of a bounce, so you'd be looking at making a move back up again, holding that 236, getting back above it at one spot at 18. That would be, you know, perhaps a better trade, and so you would look at it to take it that way, perhaps, especially if you were back above 50 simple at that point, having tested the 200 and returned back to the top side, and then there's a tiny little gap there at 1 spot 40. Break through the previous high at 1 spot 57 and target it moving to 2 spot 30. You know, you could put your stop just underneath this. You could potentially put in construct a different position, which, despite the fact that the asset itself isn't as moving as such a big percentage, that your risk tolerance and the way that you've constructed the trade allows you to put in a larger amount of capital and capitalize on the better opportunity with regards to the risk, as opposed to, you know, a very rigid, structured entry that's just all about catching knives and buying bottoms. You could be looking at it like that. And I'm not advocating for one way over the other. Each has its own advantages. If they all use stop losses, then, you know, over time, if you put in the proper trading strategy, they'll all generate money for you. So, I mean, I'm having like a hypothetical argument with, I don't even remember who asked. Colin. How's it going, Colin? So, yeah, I mean, this looks like a potential opportunity there. And then up to the 4 hour, there's where we were talking about the flash, and you're touching 50 simple. I mean, it's like there's a trading strategy for you, especially if it gets back above the center line, which you probably would do if it confirmed all those things in lower term time frames, which likewise would give you probably some sort of candlestick formation on the 5 minute or below. And then again, there's a horizontal level at 1 spot 13. Maybe you're looking for it to break back above that on the 30 minute, while giving you this cross. This looks like a potential opportunity in the MACD. When that MACD crosses a signal line, as this thing passes back above a 200 period moving average, that would be confirmation of a trend, and you'd probably get it from there. Well, I mean, what's the flicking point, right? You'd probably get it from there and take it back to your prior level of resistance. Pretty obviously the breakdown point, 1 spot 24. That could evolve into a better trade, because you're then potentially looking across here, seeing that bullish divergence, you know, retracement back above the 236, confirm it is local low, back above the 200. I mean, that's maybe what you're looking for, you know. Take it from here if you want, take it from there, like that, right? You know, you do that, easy peasy. You do that a number of times, and then you don't need to aim as high. Golden pocket retracement back up at 1 spot 34. So there's loads of different ways to play in it, but if you're looking at it in terms of risk, you know, when you go up to the 4 hour, there's plenty of reasons why there's a potential. It had to come here to close that gap. It hasn't yet bounced, so it's still catching a knife, and that pullback 50 simple suggests you could come test just underneath $1 at 92 cents. That's also, you know, a potential opportunity. The further you go from the 236 on this guy, the less that I'd like that. Is 236 0.87? You know, you break below there, maybe you are looking at testing these prior lows and putting in some sort of a more solid double bottom and rounded bottom, or longer term turning around formation. But you know, a little bit there, a little bit of an opportunity. So there's different ways of looking at it, but that's what I'd say on Blue Apron Holdings at the minute. Yes, it's an awful lot of chocolate and a very little slim biscuit. It's fantastic. Get yourself on the Dr. Utker Y-Fronts diet, where hopes and dreams meet ends and means. Thanks very much for tuning in to Tradespotting. Remember, there is no rush to being rich, and plenty of wealth in waiting to be right. I'm going to go on Chav Safari now at my living room window. I will be keeping an eye on Bitcoin. Thanks very much for watching the show. Hit that like and subscribe button. See you tomorrow for SpLoShiNg. Thanks so much to all the members. I appreciate you all so very much. Keeping the stream going and keeping the lights on. Thanks. And Patreon members, I appreciate you so very much. Thank you. Brilliant. Couldn't do it without you. That's the truth. See you tomorrow.